Hello, everyone. This is Akata Vesta. Thank you for joining me again. Today, as you can see from the title, I am going to talk about sex, sexuality, in particular, relate to the Tantric Love. Recently, I have read a very interesting article by Osho. It is from his book, Beloved of My Heart, in chapter 17. I will have the part 2 separate from this video, where I will read out the whole passage of this chapter. And so before we go into his content, I want to relate it into how I see this can be connected with Mother Isis, with the Essenes, and the Tantric Love. As you can see in one of my last video, I was talking about the liberation and reclaiming of our sexual bondage from our trauma, either in this life or in many past lives that we bring with us, that restrictions, that constraints that we have brought with us through many lifetimes, and it is inside our DNA. And through the ages, with many religious teaching and social educations, let's put it this way, the morality of it, and how the churches and many religious beliefs has taught us that more or less sex is something that is born dirty, and it is more an obligation or a process for recreation rather than understanding this true essence of love making. And somehow, even in long-term relationship, in marriages, we might not in that state of consciousness to fully appreciate the process of lovemaking. And before I go on, Osho actually, he talked really clearly about this word, lovemaking, that the making of it is already wrong. It is not the doing, but a stage of being. And just like us, we have forgotten that we are human beings, but we are being taught every day in our life we have to do something. We become the human doing. We have to do in order to prove the value of who we are, instead of appreciating what we have inside our inner self, appreciating the person, the essence that we carry with us. And this act of love become an action. And it has been something that I am contemplating a lot. in recent period. In understanding how, I think it is also during our healing journey from past relationships, we learn from our experience why certain relationship doesn't work, couldn't work. What is missing between these two people? And I think the appreciations, and finding that moment for two persons to truly appreciate the essence, the soul level, has been forgotten for so long. And sex itself is being portrayed so in such a low level. And do we truly understand the person that we share our body with? Do we truly understand, first of all, who we are? And secondly, who is this other person? And to bring back into the title with Isis, Essene, as an astrologer myself, and having read many people's charts, I do believe that many of us, as old souls, that we come from a long lineage, spiritually. Not if we can trace back to the Essence period during Joshua period. But then again, the Essence is highly related to Isis, the goddess in ancient Egypt. And her name, before she was being called Isis by the Greek, she was called Aset. And it actually means Queen of the Throne. With her mythology, that she and Osiris, they were the twin brother and sister. The myth goes that they were already in love when they were inside the womb of their mother. And Osiris became the pharaoh of Egypt. But the jealous brother Set or Seth, he plotted a plan to kill him. And with that, he had dismembered his body into 14 parts and scattered it all over Egypt. With Isis, she as the goddess with magic, and she set out to look for all these 14 parts of Osiris' body, and he found them all except one. And very interestingly, the one part that was missing was the male member of Osiris. And it was said that when he was killed, this part, the male genital, was being thrown to the sea and it was eaten by the nail fish. And so Isis, having found all these 13 parts, and she reassembled his body with cloth. And I think that was the first example of mummy. The fact is, death itself is an important part in ancient Egypt. That is not something that happened in isolation. This required others to care for the body so that it can die successfully and entered beyond in the other world. And this word, to remembering, is the remembering as a central aspect of mummification. The physical care for the dead and linguistic management of death. So to sum up the story of Isis, her love for Osiris, that she went all over Egypt to find different parts of her beloved. And after she revitalized his body, that bring out the creation from them to Horus, the god who looked after, the god for all Egyptian pharaohs. And if you have been following me, you know that I am very much aligned with two books by Claire Heartsong of Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, and the second book, Anna, the Voices of the Magdalenes, where in the first book, Grandmother Anna, she talked about in great details that how she was served with Isis. And even during those times with the Tantric Love practices that was being brought forth also into the Essene community. The learning of love making. And that today, many of us, I think most of us, has forgotten that was a part within us, inside us, in our DNA, in our blueprint. And in contemplating this aspect, which I think is so important in our healing process, and also to our future connection with, if we are lucky enough, we might find our soul partner, our divine partner. And with whom that we get to establish and discover this deep connection, not just only the emotion and physical, but spiritual. And this spiritual sharing, connecting, is very much, I think, also by the discovery of Tantric love. And so in this article, in this chapter 17, Osho talk about when, first of all, let's put aside how the Indian or the Buddhist, their description and their understanding of Tantric love. Let's put it aside. And he has given 4 major steps in lovemaking. The third one would be the act itself, the love itself. But he has spent so much time and energy in talking about before that and after that. And the first thing would be, before making love, meditate. The meditation of 2 persons, they may meditate together, but it's a process of meditating on their own in isolation. Each of them on their own journey to meditate this reunion with the other person. And with this meditation, when a person is dropped deep into a consciousness of calmness, of slow breathing, and relax, and we become soft. That is the first part. And the second part is the worshiping, that 2 persons worship the partner in front of them, appreciating this person in front of them. And I think to a certain extent, that is the love making in a spiritual sense, that when we worship, when we adore this person in front of us, we see the wholeness in this person. When we see wholeness, there is no more judgment, no more the self, but the union of 2 souls. Then the third part comes the act itself. And as I said before, that Osho, he puts great emphasis of the word lovemaking is just so not aligned. It's not an act, but a stage. It's like our state of consciousness. It's not only a moment, but how we are, how we appreciate that moment between 2 people. With that, it comes the final stage, the prayer. The prayer to thank God for what is being given, for the love expressed, for this shared union, connection between 2 people. That is divine, God given. And we as human we are the channel to appreciate that. And my thought on this is, this is a beautiful example, a guidance in knowing how we can appreciate, first of all, us as I am, and the other person. So together we are as a union. But in order to do that, there is so much work behind it. The healing work that we have to be able to face ourselves, to go through and taken lessons from our past experiences, learn the lessons, and healed with it. The fact is, I think we cannot go into a new relationship with the hurt, the bitterness, or the sorrow, or the victimhood that we still feel from our past. When a person go out and searching for their next partner, but every moment they were talking about their ex, or they are still hurt, deeply feeling the hurt, how can we embrace a new relationship, regardless how marvelous that new person could be? And I think that is a lot to think about, to contemplate upon. When we are ready, and I think the softness, the vulnerability in us, we can express it without any fear. And I hope you enjoy this podcast. And you will enjoy also the second part, where I read out the whole chapter. And with this, from my heart to yours. Thank you. See you next time.